In September 2010, American television screens lit up with a brand new reality show on TLC called Sister Wives. From the very first episode, viewers met Kody Brown, a charismatic man with a broad smile, long hair, and a family arrangement. Unlike anything they'd seen before, Kody wasn't your typical Utah resident. He was an openly polygamous man, married legally to one wife, Meri, but living with three others, Janelle, Christine, and Robin, and their ever-growing brood of 18 children. The concept of one man living with four wives under one roof was not just shocking, it was taboo. And in Utah, it was illegal under strict bigamy and cohabitation laws. Although only Meri was his legal wife, the others were spiritual wives. And together they presented themselves as a single family unit. This arrangement sparked a serious legal issue that would soon thrust the Browns into the spotlight of a criminal investigation. Less than a month after the show premiered, the Leahy Police Department launched an official probe. What began as a bold effort to normalize polygamy rapidly spiraled into a real-life courtroom drama. Kody, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robin were warned that their lifestyle could land them felony charges under Utah's harsh anti-bigamy laws. News outlets exploded with headlines and audiences were hooked. But behind the cameras, the family lived in constant tension, fear, and uncertainty. For viewers, the show was a guilty pleasure. For the Browns, every camera angle meant the risk of criminal charges. The investigation wasn't about multiple marriage certificates. Kody was careful to avoid that, but about cohabitation, which Utah law criminalized. Living with multiple spouses, even without multiple legal marriages, was enough to provoke prosecution. The Browns had unknowingly stepped into a legal minefield. Prosecutors began gathering evidence straight from the show's footage, family dinners, vacations, Kody calling the women my wives. Everything was served on a silver platter. Suddenly, reality TV wasn't just entertainment. It was evidence that could send someone to prison. This became Kody Brown's new reality. He publicly decried the investigation, claiming his family was being unfairly targeted for their beliefs and lifestyle. He called it religious persecution, insisting they had the right to live as they chose as long as no one was harmed. But the law didn't budge. For prosecutors, the letter of the law was clear. What Kody was doing was illegal. Whispers of an arrest warrant circulated as the pressure mounted. Paparazzi swarmed their Utah home. Tabloids splashed sensational headlines about illegitimate marriages and alleged child abuse. And social media users labeled the Browns as criminals and dangers to society. Caught in the middle were the children who faced bullying at school and invasive questions from classmates. What had started as a hope to make plural marriage more accepted was quickly turning into a nightmare. Behind the smiles on TV, the Browns feared losing everything: their freedom, their family, even custody of their children. Every unexpected knock at the door sent waves of anxiety through the household. Kody held family meetings to reassure his wives and kids, though even he struggled to believe things would be okay. He sought legal counsel, reached out to advocacy groups, and fought to protect his family. Meanwhile, TLC continued airing the show, fueling the fire. To Utah authorities, Kody's decision to broadcast his polygamous lifestyle was a public confession. But for Kody, the show was a platform, a way to challenge outdated laws and share a different vision of family. Inside the house, Meri often cried, Christine worried about her children's safety, and Janelle researched how other polygamous families survived legal battles. Newest wife Robin struggled with guilt, fearing her presence had triggered the investigation. The family's joyful spirit faded, replaced by fear and strain. Later that year, Kody received a discreet warning from a legal insider. The investigation was serious, and an arrest could happen any moment. Faced with this, Kody made a life-altering decision. He would uproot his entire family, all four wives and their children, and leave Utah behind. It wasn't just a move, it was exile. They packed up and disappeared into the Nevada desert. beginning a new chapter in their fight for freedom, one that would reshape the legal landscape forever. The climax of their story didn't play out in dramatic courtroom showdowns, but in quiet desperation around a kitchen table. With legal proceedings looming and panic rising, the Browns faced two terrifying choices: fight Utah's laws in court or flee. They chose survival. In 2011, the Browns left their Utah home and moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, where polygamy laws were far less strict. For the first time, each wife had her own house, her own routine. And the family tried to hold on to their bonds despite the distance. But the move came with its own challenges: financial strain, emotional turmoil, and family tensions. The legal threat remained, and every visit back to Utah brought nervous glances over their shoulders. Then, emboldened by civil rights lawyers, the Browns took a historic step. They sued the state of Utah, arguing that anti-bigamy laws violated their constitutional rights and that consenting adults should be free to live plural lives without government interference. The lawsuit made headlines nationwide. Some hailed it as a civil rights milestone. Others condemned it as dangerous. But the Browns remained unapologetic. "We just want to live in peace," Christine said tearfully in a televised interview. "We're not hurting anyone." Why is that so hard to accept? What started as a reality TV show transformed the Browns into civil rights warriors, symbols in a battle between personal freedom and the law. And their new battleground was Las Vegas, where slowly their community began to accept them for who they were. Neighbors quickly became family. The kids adapted, and the Browns settled into a new rhythm. No longer in hiding, they were ready to fight. Kody often said, "Moving to Nevada saved our family. It gave us space to heal instead of hide." But the scars from Utah ran deep. Every wife carried wounds from the ordeal: the constant fear of arrest, the relentless media frenzy, and the anxiety of leaving behind a life they had built over years. They were safe, yes, but forever changed. This move wasn't just physical. It was emotional. It forced the Browns to confront who they truly were, what they believed in, and how far they were willing to go to defend it. As their lawsuit wound its way through the courts, they realized their fight was no longer just theirs. They were now standing up for every family that had ever been forced to hide who they loved or how they lived. In many ways, that flight into the desert marked the beginning of their real legacy, not as reality TV stars, but as pioneers and champions of plural marriage rights in America. And it all began with one impossible choice. Around a kitchen table in Leahy, Utah, hearts heavy, with fear but eyes burning with determination, Christine Brown finally broke her silence. For years, Christine had been the loyal sister wife, devoted mother, and quiet supporter of the Brown family's public image. But beneath that calm exterior, turmoil brewed. Independent by nature, Christine never quite fit into the Brown family dynamic, especially after Robin arrived as the fourth wife. Robin's entrance disrupted everything. Kody openly favored her, showering her with more attention, affection, and time than the other wives. Christine felt abandoned and invisible. As sister wives progressed, cracks in her marriage deepened. The strong front they once showed the world now resembled a fragile alliance, held together by tradition and the pressures of a reality show. Fans noticed Christine's sparkle dimmed. Her smile felt forced. Her vibrant personality faded into the background. Then, in late 2021, Christine did the unthinkable. She quit. In a simple but powerful Instagram post, she revealed, "After more than 25 years together, Kody and I have drifted apart, and I have made the difficult choice to leave." That announcement shattered the carefully maintained illusion of Brown family unity. The internet exploded. Fans and media alike reacted. Some hailed her bravery as a beacon for women trapped in difficult relationships, while others speculated wildly about behind-the-scenes drama. Christine's story went viral. Interviews, podcasts, TikTok reenactments, everyone was talking. But this wasn't just a breakup. It was the unraveling of a sacred spiritual contract that had bound Christine to a life of public scrutiny, silent endurance, and emotional neglect. After her departure, Christine spoke openly about years of feeling overlooked about her children, witnessing the favoritism Kody showed Robin's kids, and about how the COVID-19 quarantine drove an even bigger wedge between her and Kody. During that time, Christine's daughter Yabo underwent major spinal surgery, and Kody didn't attend. That absence broke Christine's heart. How could a father not be there for his child in her darkest hour? The truth was clear. She was no longer a priority in Kody's life. Maybe she never had been. Christine moved back to Utah, closer to her adult children and extended family, finally living life on her own terms. Her house was hers, her time was hers. And her story was no longer filtered through reality TV producers. She launched her own social media channels, began creating solo content, and radiated newfound confidence. Fans who had followed her journey from the beginning found themselves inspired by this fresh, authentic Christine, glowing, laughing, even dating again. In 2022, rumors spread of a new man in her life, David Woolley, a widower and construction executive. Their connection was built on shared values and mutual respect. For the first time in years, Christine looked truly happy. She confirmed the relationship publicly, sharing snapshots of family dinners, date nights, and joyful moments. Fans cheered her on every step of the way, but public support for Christine went beyond her dating life. Many felt she had been wronged, emotionally and financially. Despite decades of marriage, Christine had no legal protections. Unlike Robin, who was legally married to Kody, Christine had no rights to assets or property. She had raised children, supported Kody's ambitions, contributed to the show, and helped build the Brown family brand. Yet now, she had nothing but her own strength. Legal experts debated, could Christine claim spousal support? Could she demand a share of the show's profits? Would Kody be held responsible for unequal child support? Christine chose a different path. She didn't file lawsuits or threats. Instead, she raised her voice through honest interviews, heartfelt social media posts, and tell-all specials. With every candid revelation, more cracks appeared in Kody's public image. Kody tried to fight back, portraying himself as a victim and accusing Christine of jealousy and manipulation. But the fans weren't buying it. The damage was done. His reputation was crumbling. At the same time, Christine's influence grew. She became a beacon for spiritual wives and women everywhere, silenced in one-sided relationships. Her departure wasn't just personal victory, it was a cultural movement. Support groups for ex-polygamist women cited her story. Emotional healing communities shared her words. TikTok users recreated her interviews, sometimes with humor, sometimes with raw vulnerability. Christine's ripple effect reached far beyond TLC. One unforgettable moment came during a Sister Wives reunion show, where Christine sat boldly before the host and was asked if she regretted anything. She smiled softly and said, "No, because as hard as it was, it brought me here." The audience erupted in applause. Viewers around the world were moved to tears. Even critics acknowledged that Christine Brown had rewritten her own destiny. But this was not the end, it was just the beginning. Christine's journey sparked a larger reckoning, not just for the Brown family, but for the cultural and legal systems that had allowed emotional neglect to go unchallenged under the guise of family and faith. Her story ignited important conversations about protecting women in plural marriages, pushing lawmakers and advocates to reconsider the delicate balance between religious freedom and exploitation. Through it all, Christine remained calm, not seeking revenge, not bitter, just free. For a woman who had spent half her life in silence, that freedom was louder than any reality TV drama. Because sometimes the most powerful rebellion isn't slamming doors, it's walking away and never looking back. Christine Brown was brokenhearted, but that heartbreak became the push she desperately needed to reclaim her power. In one unforgettable, emotional moment caught on camera, Christine calmly sat down with Kody and told him, "I'm done." She didn't shout or cry, just looked him in the eyes and spoke. The words that had been building inside her for years. "I can't do this anymore." It was a seismic moment, not just for their marriage, but for the entire Brown family. Kody was stunned. He had always assumed Christine would stay, just like the others had. But Christine had something they didn't, the courage to walk away. Her departure sent shockwaves through the family. Her leaving wasn't about lost love, it was about finding herself again. It was a powerful message to her children, especially her daughters. You deserve better. No woman should settle for a love that is anything less than whole. Christine packed up her life in Flagstaff and moved back to Utah, near her adult children. Starting over at nearly 50 wasn't easy. Her heart was bruised, her spirit worn, but for the first time in years, she could finally breathe. As she shared more of her life on social media, the response was overwhelming. Fans praised her bravery and strength. She wasn't glowing because of a man, she was shining because she had chosen herself. She started laughing more, exercising, spending precious time with her kids, and rediscovering joy she'd buried for years. Then, love returned. Christine met David Woolley, kind, respectful man who cherished her. Their relationship blossomed quickly, filled with laughter, romance, and genuine connection. Unlike her life with Kody, their days were full of silly selfies and joyful moments. Christine even called David her soulmate. In 2023, they got engaged and married in a beautiful ceremony surrounded by friends and family. Christine radiated confidence and happiness, inspiring happily ever after so much pain. But Christine's departure shook the Brown family to its core. Kody spiraled into bitterness and resentment, especially towards Christine. He lashed out, accusing her of betrayal and poisoning the children against him. But fans saw through the anger. They saw a man losing control. The other wives were shaken too. Janelle, Christine's closest friend, began questioning her own relationship with Kody. Meri, emotionally distant from Kody for years, watched another wife walk away. The once tightly knit family was unraveling before everyone's eyes. Viewers stopped being passive observers. They became invested in Christine's journey, inspired by her strength. Her story resonated with countless women stuck in unhappy relationships, silenced and marginalized. Christine had become an icon, not just of survival, but of triumph. Meanwhile, Kody faced the consequences of his choices. The once proud patriarch was left isolated, his family fractured, and his control slipping. It wasn't a single moment that broke Christine, it was the thousand little hurts, forgotten birthdays, broken promises, cold shoulders, dismissive words, and conditional love. When she finally said enough, it was an act of strength, one that transformed everything. Her story continues to inspire, proving it's never too late to leave what wounds you and walk toward what heals. Christine Brown didn't just leave a marriage, she blazed a trail for others to do the same.